Welcome back to my inner sanctum. I'm your hostess, Countess Elizabeth, mistress of the macabre. Sometimes the most horrific accidents happen while people are at work. Deep-sea diving is something people do for fun, but on today's tale, deep-sea diving was being done for work on an oil drilling rig in the North Sea. Today we will discover a deep-sea diving case that ended in tragedy and mutilation. So let us get on our diving gear and get into the dive bell so we can explore our grotesque curiosity. Byford Dolphin is a semi-submersible, column-stabilized drilling rig operated by the Dolphin Drilling Company. In 2009, it was contracted by BP for drilling in the United Kingdom section of the North Sea for 3 years. This drilling rig is known for a few accidents. The first recorded accident occurred on March 1st, 1976. The rig ran aground during transit from a block in the North Sea to Bergen. All the crew were evacuated in lifeboats, but 6 people died when they fell from the lifeboat. The second recorded accident was more gruesome. A diving bell is a rigid chamber used to transport divers from the surface to the depths and back in open water, usually for the purpose of performing underwater work. On Saturday, the 5th of November, 1983, at 4 a.m., while drilling in the Frigg gas field in the Norwegian sector of the North Sea, 4 divers were in a diving chamber system, a short passage to a diving bell. The divers were Edwin Arthur Coward, a British 35-year-old, Roy P. Lucas, a 38-year-old British man, Bjorn Bergensen, a 29-year-old Norwegian, and Truls Hellevik, a 34-year-old Norwegian. They were assisted by 2 dive tenders, William Brown Cramid and Martin Andrew Saunders. Hellevik was about to close a door between the chamber system and the trunk when the chamber explosively decompressed from a pressure of 9 atmospheres to 1 atmosphere. One of the tenders, a 32-year-old William Cramid of Great Britain, and all 4 divers were killed instantly. The other tender, Saunders, was severely injured. Here is a recreation of the dive bell at the time of the accident. D1 through D4 are the divers. T1 and T2 are dive tenders. The trunk of the section is joined by chambers 1 to the diving bell. Just prior to the event, decompression chambers 1 and 2, along with a 3rd chamber which was not in use at the time, were connected via a trunk to a diving bell. The connection made by the trunk was kept sealed by a clamp operated by Cramond and Saunders, who were experienced divers. Edwin Coward and Roy Lucas were resting in chamber 2 at a pressure of 9 atmospheres. The diving bell with Bergeson and Hellevik had just been winched up after a dive and joined to the trunk. Leaving their wet equipment in the trunk, the 2 divers climbed through the trunk into chamber 1. The normal procedure would have been 1. Close the diving bell door, which would have been open to the trunk. 2. Slightly increase the pressure of the diving bell to seal the door tightly. 3. Close the chamber 1 door, which was also open to the trunk. 4. Slowly depressurize the trunk until it reached a pressure of 1 atmosphere. And 5. Open the clamp to separate the diving bell from the chamber system. The first 2 steps had been completed when, for an unknown reason, Cramond opened the clamp that was keeping the trunk sealed before diver 4, Hellevik, could close the door to the chamber. This resulted in an explosive decompression of the unsealed chamber system. Air rushed out of the chamber system with tremendous force, jamming the interior trunk door and pushing the bell away, striking the 2 tenders. All 4 divers were killed in an instant. One of the tenders, Cramond, was killed while Saunders was severely injured. Medical investigations were carried out on the remains of the 4 divers and of one of the tenders. The most notable finding was the presence of large amount of fat in the large arteries and veins and in the cardiac chambers, as well as the intravascular fat in organs, especially the liver. Here now you can see the remains of one of the divers. The blood of the 3 divers left intact inside the chamber likely boiled instantly, stopping their circulation. Coward, Lucas, and Bergensen were exposed to the effects of explosive decompression and died in the positions indicated by the diagram. Investigations by forensic pathologists determined that Hellevik, being exposed to the highest pressure gradient and in the process of moving to secure the inner door, was forced through a crescent-shaped opening measuring 60 centimeters or 24 inches long, created by the jammed interior trunk door. With the escaping air and pressure, it included a bisection of his thoracoabdominal cavity, which resulted in the fragmentation of his body, followed by the expulsion of all the internal organs of his chest and abdomen, except the trachea and a section of small intestine, and of the thoracic spine. The committee investigating the accident concluded that it was caused by human error on the part of the dive tender who opened the clamp. This incident was also attributed to an engineering failure. The obsolete Byford Dolphin diving system, dated from 1975, was not equipped with fail-safe hatches, outboard pressure gauges, and an interlocking mechanism which would have prevented the trunk from being opened while the system was under pressure. Perhaps if proper care was taken, this accident would have never occurred. Well, that was truly a grotesque tale. This was a tragic accident that happened while these men were at work. I know I wouldn't be happy if I died while I was at work. This just seems like a tragic accident caused by human error and not having the proper equipment. May their souls rest in peace. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe, like, and share if you would also like to keep exploring our grotesque curiosity. We'll meet again in the darkness of the night.